Ohio State's Brice Sensabaugh put together one of the more efficient and productive scoring seasons we've seen from a freshman, getting buckets in a variety of ways and standing out despite it being a down year for the Buckeyes. He's a physically imposing wing at 6'6" that's wired to score and hit tough shots unlike many others, and did it in just 25 minutes a game, even coming off of the bench at times. Now the surrounding parts of his game, especially his defense, is where he'll have a lot of work to do, but he's got an excellent foundation as a scorer both with and without the ball, and that'll keep him a prospect worth considering as high as the late lottery. Brice is a natural bucket getter and self-creator with an array of moves and options all over the floor going both directions. He's not super quick, but definitely quicker and shiftier than you'd think. He does a good job of using his body. He loves to use jabs, specifically the shimmy jab or rocker step, and has some wide crossovers and pullbacks to get to his spots as well. But what made it special is he shot nearly 53% off the dribble in the mid-range on good volume, and his overall combination of skill set, size, and confidence make him a potentially dangerous scorer. Since 2008, there have been 18 one-and-dones to post an offensive box plus minus above 7, and only Bol and Vernon Carey were selected outside of the top 8 of their drafts. Both Brice and Brandon Miller joined that group this year, and we just haven't seen too many freshmen who were as productive and efficient per minute as a scorer as Brice.
Favorite and limping right now. Hopefully he can just walk it off.
Sensabaugh with an ISO at the elbow. 5 to shoot. Sensabaugh to the elbow. Got it! It'll be Sensabaugh.
Portland, Maine.
Yes, he is invested in this.
There he is. Hard drive with the left hand. Pulls up. And
With the big guy, get to the rim, but this is just impressive. Goodness.
30 pounds worth.
He plays with such confidence out there.
Sensabaugh trying to get involved. Sensabaugh got around Barron, and Sensabaugh's the game. And to go in and get retaped. Sensabaugh, mid-range.
Now his footwork and ability to use his body to create space and to get shots off is really impressive and a unique part of his game. That combination of physicality and touch often made up for the lack of a great ability to accelerate, and it allowed him to create angles for jumpers and also helped him as a driver. He's already mastered the bump fade, he had a lot of success on live post-ups or backdowns, and has a spin fade or turnaround game of a veteran. And even with all this, he still did a pretty good job of attacking closeouts and converting using limited dribbles. Some of this will be different given NBA competition and likely without the immediate freedom he had at OSU, but I think he can still be effective with a lot of these pieces, even in a more condensed role early on.
Sensabaugh, speaking of, has he actually increased the lead with Bradley out of the game? Turnaround jumper, Sensabaugh.
Kind of a fun matchup there with Ice likely going against Chris Murray. Certainly give him some size, but has the bulk in it.
Sensabaugh, dancing with it. Turnaround jumper. High school. Tough get against Sensabaugh.
And half the pass.
Baseline to the left.
Sensabaugh.
Right now, Purdue shooting 22% from the field. Ohio State has made their last 4 field.
He can take advantage while he's gone, but
Game high, 17. In and out dribble. Gets to his spot off the window softly. And
smart play. Looking for the shot block instead of going to score. Ooh, what a move.
Sensabaugh.
His heel. The only way you're going to stop him is strip that ball waist high. Sensabaugh to the rim.
Against a smaller player, and that's a challenge. He's got to maintain it by winning position first.
Sensabaugh, good strike.
Too much Edie. All adds up to an impressive.
Sensabaugh. You got to memorize all these names and you got to say transfer from about 1,000 times.
Shaking off that rust.
Yeah, it's important. And then you got
at this level, you make a mistake or you
moved to the U.S. in 2018 to pursue basketball. As Sensabaugh gets to the, here's a push. Sensabaugh off.
As I said, they're going to have to guard. It's going to be important.
Sensabaugh off the shot fake, gets inside. He's got
Third turnover by the Illini.
Sensabaugh thinking about it. And draws a foul.
Really good help defense by Kerwin Walton.
Now, while the scoring and self-creation stands out the most, he's a much better shooter than he gets credit and has an underrated ability to fit in more of a complementary or off-ball role. He shot a ridiculous 44% on catch and shoot threes. He's consistent mechanically with good footwork and solid shot prep, and he also relocated well, finding the open space on the floor, and has some slight movement upside, running some pin downs and being used as a screener. So with all the off the dribble stuff, he's shown that he can come in and score as a complementary guy as well. Now, there's some other pieces to that and fitting in an offense, but there's reason to be confident in him finding a place and growing from there on offense.
Principles that they have. Shoot or a shot.
Single season score record, 295 of them on the year.
Excellent job by San Diego State getting back in defensive transition.
Sensabaugh.
13 to shoot. Sue it. Pursuing. Sensabaugh for three. The freshman.
I think that Bruce Thornton is going to be a guy that's one of their leaders.
Fewer times they have to put it down on the blocks to somebody else.
Tanner Holden, who had 7 points in the first half, kicks it back out to Sensabaugh. It's a quiet.
Make a call, but if you try to lay it up, there's no call.
Open look, three-pointer.
Put up jump shot.
Euless with 7 points on 3 of 5 shooting. Sensabaugh first delivery.
Trying to get back in the game. Just can't afford those turnovers.
7th turnover. Open three. Amoria, an improved passer.
That's the first look.
From the wing,
Pretty impressive. Another turnover, here he is.
They don't have quite the size that a lot of the power teams in the league do.
Seven to shoot. Back door, got it up. And here's Suink. Back door inside again.
And Sensabaugh. Catch and shoot, 17-footer.
McConnell trying to be a pest as he usually is. Thornton's pass makes its way through.
14 against Minnesota, and now he has 14 here tonight. On the other end, nice finish.
Right now, defense is far and away the biggest improvement area for Brice, and something that he'll need to focus on at the next level to ensure he can stay on the floor. He's not the quickest laterally and did a poor job of closing out and had a tendency to jump and bite on fakes, also landing him in some foul trouble at times. He was even targeted in some games, specifically against Penn State, and then off the ball he just had too many lapses, losing his man, being disengaged and late to rotate, and also just being behind in his positioning. And to me, this is the more concerning part of it all. There are plenty of less than great lateral movers who get by in the league, but most make a much better impact and help and bring that consistently. Now, Brice will always have the size to belong on an NBA court, which is good, and I don't think he's incapable of improving here. He had a few good moments and was pretty self-aware in his interviews during the season. It won't be right away, but I think he can eventually avoid being a complete negative, guarding some threes, maybe some fours depending on the lineup, but this will be key in determining a lot of his NBA success.
With a 1-point edge. Out to Mag for three.
Trying to get to his spot against Suing. Suing playing with 4 fouls. Oh, wide open three. Off the mark. Get a better look than that. Brice Sensabaugh falls. Oh, the great kid Lively. Got it to go. Rocha got around Suing. Even though got a good contest, it's better offense. Oh, good dive. Cam Winter. Driving it on Sensabaugh. Pull-up jumper.
And there may have been 20 seconds, and they shoot free throws well if you get the anxiety level up and you foul it. Newman. Mulcahy to trigger, finds the man in the corner.
High clock winding down, it's at 5. Butler, he's got to go. At 2, rising up, in and out.
The floor with the best of them.
But a turnover, Sensabaugh anticipating and then decimating the rim on the other end.
Wow, Dix comes in and they jump him quickly through the Buckeyes, forcing that turnover.
Will beat Maryland 81-67 in Iowa City on. When you're in college basketball, you see from freshman year to sophomore year to junior year.
Here's Whitehead, tipped on into the lane, and can't finish it. Communication here, trailing.
32 strong.
Sensabaugh pulls 13 in that game against Kansas, but starting off the second.
Now for someone who has the potential to score the ball as well as Brice, he'll definitely need to improve as a decision maker and playmaker. There were still too many moments of tunnel vision and missing open teammates and basic reads. You forgive some of the shot selection given who he is and the situation that he was in, but he'll still need to do a better job of moving the ball and seeing the right play. He got better here as the year went on and really does have some passing ability on kickouts and dump offs, so there is reason for optimism, but the vision and consistency will need to catch up.
Sensabaugh caught in the air. Shot clock inside 5. Oh, good.
I'm gonna guess the weather from Bozeman to Orono is not much different.
No, probably not. It's key inside. Playing with 2 personals, hands off to Sensabaugh. In the corner, McNeil.
He was voted by his teammates to become captain. That rarely happens. Here's Sensabaugh. Beautiful pass to Key.
Nice look. Along with Sensabaugh, 6-point game. Good.
It also could be a little bit of a false flag.
Key again.
And I also think Brice can extend his range as a pull-up shooter out to the 3-point line. He was in the 20s percentage-wise on lower attempts. Of course, the mid-range splits were unbelievable, and that's a positive part of his game. He's natural and has the tools and touch to add this, but it is something I just want to see, and teams will likely suggest more of in the future.
And Danjo over the back of Zed Key.
Ooh. Sensabaugh again.
Didn't get much out of it. Outside jumper goes.
Sensabaugh for 3.
Missed 2 here today. An 8-0 Rutgers run to close out over
61-52. 5 unanswered now for the Buckeyes. Sensabaugh on an ISO. ISO!
Sensabaugh blocked by Battle.
Illegal!
Battle from the elbow. Yes.
Come on, Justice! That's it, J-Mo! Too easy, go!
Sensabaugh with the left.
I still think Brice has a fairly high ceiling and could easily end up one of the better offensive players in the draft, but if the defensive concerns outweigh the scoring and he can't find a great spot in a lineup, he'll likely end up in some version of a bench scoring punch role, which I think he could still find some value in. But it's fairly simple and laid out for him between the defense and some of the decision making in getting him where he wants to go. He could go as early as the late lottery to the late first round, and teams like Toronto, Utah, and potentially LA could be good spots, and then in the late first I think he could really shine in a place like Memphis. Comparison wise, he immediately reminded me a lot of TJ Warren. Now, TJ became a pretty good defender in Indiana, though that wasn't always the case from NC State to Phoenix, so that'd be kind of the main difference. And as usual, these are never one-to-one, but there are some similarities there.
The ball from Milton.
That's the second time, and now Warren for 3. Warren, a fading.
Brice Sensabaugh is one of the most talented freshman scorers that I've watched closely, and his ability to do it efficiently in multiple spots and roles make him a prospect with a ton of upside and one I value near the lottery. Now, the defensive concerns are valid and could very well lessen his impact if he's not closer to maxing out as a scorer, but at a certain point I think you take that risk for the potentially special reward on offense.